A lot of Amazon sellers don't have any other data to compare to. So in this video, I'm going to show you guys actually 4 examples, and I'm going to go back 2 years worth of data to show you that even no matter what you do sometimes, your ACoS is not going to go down because cost per clicks are going up. All right. And mind the background here. I am actually in Hawaii for a couple weeks, but still cranking out videos for you guys, so I hope you appreciate it. Okay, so I'm going to dive right in here. I'm going to show you a spreadsheet, but first I want to just show you some data. What I've done is I've pulled data from 4 different accounts for the past 2 years, okay? And I want you guys to see that a lot of times when people look at PPC, they look at ACoS and they look at sales. One of the biggest things, and what I like to do, sometimes I hop on calls with my clients, and if there's a period of high ACoS, I just open this graph and I look for trends. I start to mess with these stats and I try to look for trend lines. And sometimes you forget to go back far enough to actually look for the trends. So what I want to call to your attention here are cost per click and click-through rate. So cost per click is the absolute biggest thing that sometimes you can just not avoid this. So let's actually look cost per click in ACoS. This is a very big seller. They have a #1 bestseller tag. They've had it for years. They've had it for a very long time. And new guys are coming onto the market, so we're trying to keep it. And look at this, and they keep saying, you know, can we get our ACoS back down? And I'm like, honestly, we can't. We can't, because you need to keep paying to play. And if you want to keep your bestseller tag, you're going to have to pay more cost per click. So a year ago, it was 45 cents. Now it's 75 cents. That's a huge jump in cost per click. I want to show you guys one more big one, and then I'm going to dive into an Excel sheet and show you some really cool data that I pulled. Okay, so this is the next one here. And same exact thing. I've got 2 years worth of data. It's another big seller because I think this gets the point across a little more for you guys. So let's look at ACoS and cost per click. Okay, cost per click way back in 2017. I've got lifetime data here. It was 28 cents, the good old days, right? It jumped up. About a year later, it was 51 cents. Now it's still at 52 cents. It's dropped down a few times, but year to date, it's been closer to 60 cents. I know this doesn't sound like a lot, but these are people that have been selling for years and years and years. And you have to realize that as Amazon grows, you cannot avoid these higher cost per clicks. So their sales are increasing like crazy, right? They're in sales, their sales are going up and up and up, and they keep saying, hey, can we bring our ACoS down? And I'm like, honestly, not really. We need to look at tacos, and we need to take a step back and analyze it that way. So let me jump into this sheet here. And what I've done is I just wanted to show you guys just the raw data. And actually, let me zoom in here. One second. All right, sorry about that. So at the bottom here, I'm going to show you guys a summary of these numbers. But I think this would be a cool thing for you to do for your brand. If you've been selling for a very long time and you're saying, because a lot of people come to me as a PPC manager and they say, hey, my ACoS used to be 20%. How do we get it back down to 20%? And now it's at like 25. And I'm like, listen, you're growing, right? Let's say you've doubled your sales in a year. You need to raise your expectations. So you're not going to always stay at 20% ACoS, right? It's just not going to happen. Some people can stay within a range, but you need to constantly, if your sales are going up and you're in a more competitive market and you're a bestseller, you're not going to always stay at those numbers. So it's very unfortunate, but you know, if you're a PPC manager and you have a lot of PPC data, you can see that, hey, everyone's ACoS is going up. Everyone's cost per click is going up. We need to stay ahead of the game and actually maybe shoot for a higher ACoS so we can get ahead of these guys. So all I did, 2 years worth of data, total sales, spend for a month. I went back to June of 2019, and then I pulled the tacos for every single month. I've got 2 really big brands, and then I've got 2 smaller brands that I hope you guys can kind of connect with here. So when we're looking at these numbers like this, and a lot of people, and again, this client specifically, like, hey, we used to be at 5% tacos. How do we get back to that level? But I'm trying to set their expectations. So what I did here is just for the, and I know 2021 only has 4 months of data, but for 2019, 2020, 2021, I did average sales per month, average spend per month, and the tacos. And you can show this to them and say, hey, listen, we have more than doubled average sales per month since 2019, and our tacos has only gone up 1%, right? So, I mean, I'm sure it might be a little more than that with 0.1 or something like that, but that is such a minimal change for more than double sales. And this is what I'm going to try to show you guys, that these are all different accounts. So this is a huge catalog, very, very big catalog. Back in 2019, let's say they had 100 products, okay? And they were all really good sellers. So they all got a very good return. Now in 2021, yes, they've doubled their sales because they've doubled their catalog. But since they've added so many new SKUs, we have to put heavy spend into those new SKUs. And you know when SKUs launch, they don't convert very well. So you have to spend more, so your tacos goes up. So I told them, I was like, listen, before, when you're a new seller and you have, all your best sellers and that's the only spend you're getting, your numbers are going to be great. As you grow, some of your products are going to be losers, right? They're just not going to work out. But we've got to try that and put spend into them. So if you are one of these massive brands that's constantly launching products, try to take a step back and look at that. Say, hey, where are my winners? Where are my losers? Are my losers spending way too much? And are they taking money away from my winners? Okay? That's kind of number 1 right there. Number 2. Again, we've got back in 2019, they were doing 400K a month. We are now consistently at about 800K. So we've doubled, again, the same thing. 2019, 2020, 2021, look at that. Doubled in sales per month. Tacos has gone up 2%. This one, they've come to me and they say, hey, so they are number 1 bestseller. Huge category, very, very competitive. They've had the number 1 best-selling tag for years now. And they say, hey, we used to be at lower ACoS. And I was like, yeah, because there was half of the competitors that there are now. So this very minimal change is worth it to keep that tag. What some people do, if you're a number 1 bestseller, you should know this, and you probably do know this, but if you start to see a tacos that you're not comfortable with, and you start to dial down spend, the number 2 and the number 3 guys are going to be all over that, and they're going to come in and take that from you. So if you're at the top of the page and you're number 1, don't let off the gas, because just realize that you're going to have to pay to play a little more, and you're actually going to start to discourage the smaller sellers because they won't be able to take you over. All right, the smaller guys, okay, which is probably what you're more interested in. The smaller guys, and this is supplements, okay? I've shown some data from this before. This is supplements. So, definitely haven't doubled sales here. We're in some other countries, so we have closer to doubling sales, but look at this tacos increase, right? From 20% to 28%. And it's not that bad. So what happens with a lot of supplements is they see this and they're like, well, I thought as I sold more, this was going to go down. Supplements and some of these categories are so expensive because so many new sellers are always coming on. So you need to have the money to pay to play here in a category like this, okay? You need to pick your battles. You need to know your keywords, and don't go too crazy with it. So if your supplements, keep spending to what's working. Or if your supplements are like shampoo or beauty items, those are the really competitive ones, right? Keep spending into what's working. Try a little bit into the newer, display, retargeting, that stuff, but don't take spend away from your top keywords, because if you do, this is going to be even worse. Very last one here, and this is an interesting one. So they started at only $65K a month a couple years. They started like the very beginning of 2019, $65K a month. Seasonal item. They're in kitchen, but they're more of a kind of gift kitchen item. Okay, so these numbers, they're 2020. They had it's more there because they had December in there, right? But I've talked with this guy, and he's like, listen, we're at a plateau right now. Right? We're at a plateau. He's only got about 10 products, and he's not really adding much more. So this is a case where we're kind of rethinking the strategy, and we're saying, okay, our tacos is consistently a little higher than we want it to be. We really need to be at 9 or 10% here. And let me try to see if I can see this. So there are times when we have a lower tacos and we actually have a better month. But you don't know until you test this. So I'm very close with this brand, and we can say that, you know, here we had 11% tacos, here we had 8%. The sales were exactly the same because we were just kind of overspending. So if you have something like this where you're very, very small and you see such consistent data, and it's just kind of killing you, and you're not a massive seller, you're going for profits, try to cut this in half. So that's what we just did with this, is we just dialed this way, way, way down, and we want to get this like 7% for the month of May, because he'd make way more profits. Inventory is always a struggle, so we get to keep up with inventory and just kind of steady it out, because if you don't have inventory, what's the point of just spending if this taco is already way higher than you like, okay? So I really hope you guys appreciate this. I tried to pull a lot of different brands here and show you data. For newer sellers, you know, if this discourages you, and because these bigger guys can't bring down their numbers, even on newer brands, it's going to be 10 times worse right now. So just realize that it takes years to gain traction in some of these categories.